The book of the prophet Daniel, chapter 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions in his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it had raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. Like the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, I beheld a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fire stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, And 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season in time. I saw in the night visions, and beheld one like the Son of Man came with the clouds. With the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. And dominion, his dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom, that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth. Which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end. Okay, so that was the end. As for me, Daniel, of chapter 7, my cogitations much troubled me. Take it very slow. And my countenance changed in me. But I kept the matter in my heart. So much in here that we can't possibly get through it. It's taken hundreds of lifetimes of people to go through this, and they would get some things wrong, and then time would pass and things would change and so forth. But the first thing that I wanted to point out is that there's one thing that will not change, and it's easily understood, quite easily. And that is verse 9 of chapter 7. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. And then towards the end of verse 10, the judgment was set and the books were opened. Verse 13, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, in his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So who is the Ancient of Days? No, it's the Father. Look, it tells you right here. So look up verse 13 again. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. Who is the one like the Son of Man? Jesus. And he came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Now he's still talking about this, the one like the Son of Man. Verse 14. And there was given him, Son of Man, right? Dominion and glory and kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, in his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So the Son of Man, all power, glory, dominion, kingdom has been given to Jesus.
That's right.
You see? So this is the reason I started with that, because it's obviously there's an interpretation of the dream. He's talking about 4 kings, right? Is because we need to start with the kingdom that has no end. And as they say, a lot of people in business, they say we have to reverse engineer from the end what's going to happen in the end, and then work out our way backwards to understand. So the first principle to understand in this chapter, based on what I've read, I have not studied this, I don't know. I'm just reading. I don't do a pre-study and then come on here and talk about this. Just based on what I'm reading, because when the Bible was first given to those people in Europe, all they had was the Bible to go by. They didn't have Google to be so-called researching. It's amazing to me that people say, I'm going to go do some research on Google. It's amazing. It's full of people's opinions. Everything is. So I don't want anyone's opinion. I want to read it, and I want to see what it says for myself. The first thing I got out of this is that there's a kingdom that was given to Jesus by the Father, who is the Ancient of Days. And the kingdom given to Jesus will have no end, and everyone, all peoples, all nations, all languages are going to serve Jesus. Because his kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and will never have an end. It will last forever. And so what that means is that the unruly, the rebellious, the people that never loved the Lord, the people that never obeyed him, the people that never knew him or anything, all the people that will not be a part of his kingdom will still have to serve him. Everyone, everything, and everyone will, as another verse says, every knee shall bow and confess that Jesus is Lord, to the glory of the Father. And this is what this verse is saying as well, because the Bible is always proving that is divinely inspired, because it answers every question. And so that one kingdom will never be destroyed. Jesus' kingdom will always prevail. And all other kingdoms that it's talking about in chapter 7 will not last. They will all eventually be destroyed. So with that in mind, from verse 1 to verse 3 of chapter 7, what I noticed, it was talking about the Belshazzar, and in the year of Belshazzar is what Daniel saw. And there were 4 winds of heaven that strove upon the sea. And if you remember at the beginning, maybe it was at the end of Ezekiel, I pointed out that there were 4 winds. Remember? Yeah. Pointed out something about 4 winds. I have to go and research exactly what that was, but I remember seeing 4 winds. So that was the first thought that came into my head as I started to read this. Then from verse 4, so the 4 winds are four kings, as this chapter explains itself. The 4 kings. So with that understanding, we go back. Verse 4 is talking about Nebuchadnezzar, which was the lion with eagle's wings. Verse 5 is talking about, remember, after Nebuchadnezzar, and we read this at the beginning of Daniel, the Medes and the Persians came and took over. Remember how Nebuchadnezzar was murdered, right? And then the Medes and the Persians.
Or was it Belshazzar?
Belshazzar took over, right? And then verse 5. Verse 6 is talking about Alexander the Great with the Greek Empire, right, that took over. And he was a leopard. And then finally, in chapter 7, it's talking, chapter 7, verse 7, it's talking about the Roman Empire. And it goes and it kind of details it a little bit. And I want to point out also verse 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives, all 4 lives, right? It says lives, were prolonged for a season and a time. You know what that means? That means that their influence are still here today, which is what I've been talking about. This proves a little bit of understanding that I've thought about, that all of these ancient kingdoms, powerful kingdoms, these were the first worldwide kingdoms still had influence upon us to this very day. So the Babylonians, the Medes and Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans still have influence upon our lives today. So if we just take one of them, that will be Rome, right? The strongest of them all. So let's go to verse 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Ooh, we can talk so much about how Rome, that demon, has made war against the saints. And so much war and so much prevailing has happened that was given to Rome, that Rome has prevailed. It says here, made war with the saints and prevailed against them. I did not get this from anyone. I can see how Rome has prevailed against the saints, because now the saints, the Protestants, okay, we were at war with Rome. We protested and we came out of the Catholic Church, okay, because the Catholic Church today is Rome, okay. So the Catholic Church, that's why it's called the Roman Catholic Church. And this Roman Catholic Church has been at war with the saints from the very beginning. Look at the history of the Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church, murdering the Christians from the very beginning. The Jews from the very beginning put to death Jesus through Rome. It was a Roman cross. So I'm just thinking, the Roman Catholic Church they have that cross, right? That they carry everywhere. But to them, the cross means punishment for the Christians. It doesn't mean the cross that they reverence. They carry a cross in front of them because they're going after Christians. Just like the Roman Empire carried crosses everywhere to punish their enemies because they're at war with the church. They don't worship the God that we worship, and yet they lie. That's part of the war. Is they lie that they say that they worship the God. They don't worship the God that we worship. They worship the Pope. The Pope is their God. And through the centuries, so they started with Jesus. So the Jewish people took Jesus to Rome, crucified him on a cross. And then from there, persecution started. All 12 apostles were persecuted. Stephen, the first one. Then after that, you have us Christians fleeing. And then under Nero, look at all the persecutions, all through the centuries, all the way until the Reformation. And after the Reformation, they hated the Tyndale Bible and then the King James, 1611. And they have been for 2,000 years persecuting the church. The actual church, the Protestants, the people of the way. And finally, after 2,000 years, They are prevailing because the Protestants now are going back to Rome. You can see that this prophecy is being fulfilled in our lifetimes. So verse 21, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until, verse 22, the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Verse 23, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And then, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. To me, that's talking about the Pope, where the Greeks, the Medes and Persians, and the Babylonians are submitted under the Pope. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. But it does sound to me that way. And shall wear out the saints and the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. I started my Bible this morning at 5 a.m. according to Eastern time. What is the is it Eastern Standard or Eastern? Yeah, Standard. And daytime is when we go back, right? So I ask everyone all the time, how come they force us to go back in an hour in the spring, and they force us to go back to the standard time during the fall? Why do they do that? Because they have complete control over the times, and they change the times. Oh, Benjamin, that's not what that means. No, they have complete control. And we allow these people to have control. And they have control over that and much more, because we are now in a position where verse 21 is being fulfilled in our lifetime. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. There are so many chosen people that understand that Rome is our enemy. We're at war with Rome. And we have so many traitors in the church. So many Benedict Arnolds, right, in the church. Benedict Joel Osteen. Benedict Joyce Meyer. Benedict Rick Warren. Benedict T.D. Jakes. These are all Benedicts. They're traitors. They're leading us toward Rome, and people are surrendering to Rome. But I want to remind everybody that the saints, through the last 2,000 years, the reason we had the Reformation and the Protestant church is because there were people that did not submit back to Rome. And that is the lesson here. That there needs to always be people that don't submit to Rome. And hopefully this helps somebody. And we hope that the reading and the daily reading And we start early. Like I said, the times in the old time this morning, it would have been 5 a.m. that we are reading. But then 4 a.m. in the old time, when I started reading my Psalms and Proverbs this morning. And we don't do this to boast or anything like that. It is so that we are disciplined to read our Bibles every day and to live in submission to the Lord and keeping with repentance. Because one thing is for sure, the 4 kingdoms that we read about, they're all done. The prophecy is almost all complete. And the Ancient of Days is about to show up and allow Jesus to come back. And the judgment is near. The judgment day is near. Because everything that we read today has already been done. The church is already back to Rome. I mean, do you guys realize that prophecy is already complete? 50 years ago, that would not have been the case. 50 years ago, we still had some time because we had a lot of Protestants not under Rome. But today, 100% of all the big churches out there, 100%, they're back to Rome. So that prophecy is already fulfilled. So the 4 kingdoms are already done. Their time that they were allotted after they were destroyed has already almost been completed. The saints were prevailed upon by Rome. So it's almost time for Jesus to come back. So it's time to really take this seriously, repent, be ready, because the Lord is coming, and coming any day, could be today. So we should repent, turn back from our wicked ways, trust alone in Jesus. We'll see you guys tomorrow.